to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
I had an epiphany just the other day. Talking with Mrs. Tews, as some of you know, she's from south of the Mason-Dixon line. And it occurred to me that the only difference between a Newfoundlandese accent and a Southern accent is speed and octave. One of them is one octave higher than normal speak and twice as fast. That would be Newfoundlandese. And the other one is an octave lower and twice as slow. So, for example, you could say, I'm from Arkansas. And all I do is I speed up how fast I say it and put it in a higher voice. I'm from Arkansas. That's Newfoundlandese. That's it. That's it. Just faster and higher. You could take somebody from Kansas, get him jacked up on meth, kick him in the nuts, and he would be audibly indistinguishable from somebody from Newfoundland. And similarly, you could take somebody from Newfoundland and drop an anvil on their head and maybe give them a bit of fentanyl. Well, now that's exactly what Nebraska sounds like.
Morning, Tews. How's everybody doing? Mashup 192.
Morning, Sean. I'm doing well. Jim Sinclair, good to see you. He confirmed with me last night. You know, we even discussed the time zones and everything. What time does this start at? What time does this start at? Well, it starts at 10 Alberta time. Okay, cool. Text this morning. What time's the mashup start?
I'm just happy, Jim, you found it.
Yep.
I don't know how many times he texts me, where is this thing? Where is this thing? Jim, you've been on it. You've hosted it. You still can't find it. Anyways, he's here. Happy Mashup 192 to everyone.
Morning, everybody.
Like, share, auto pen the subscribe button today. Okay. Mashup 192. We got lots to get to. How about though? Well, Happy Airborne Friday as well. We're talking about Jim. Happy Airborne Friday, all the military boys. How about we start with the mash bill? How about we start there before we get into some of the other things, Tews? Tews, are you freezing up? Tews is freezing up, folks. Well, I'll talk about the mash bill. He's giving me the finger in the background. I don't think that was me. I think you're getting kicked out right now. That I have nothing to do with that. Okay,
go ahead. Talk about the mash spiel.
No, I said you want to talk about the mash spiel. What are you doing?
Yeah, we absolutely should. What should people know about the mash spiel, Sean?
I don't know what he's doing right now. Okay, I'm not on this joke. I was going to say that was a ton of fun, and I wanted to thank everybody for coming out. I wanted to thank Brymar Electric for Tyler and Crystal for helping do all the things in the background for it. They
a million little things, incredibly helpful. I had a vision for what I wanted it to be, and it was even more than what I had envisioned. Like, it wasn't like a close approximation. It fit the mold better than I even knew the mold was shaped to be.
And some really cool stories came out of it. The team that won, they were four ladies that hadn't played together in 10 years, and they came together for the mash spiel from all parts of Alberta,
and kicked everybody's ass,
and then kicked everybody's butts. Yep. And that was that was humbling. Carrie Ann, Team Canes.
Go ahead.
No, I just Carrie Ann and her team, the Canes. I don't know. We didn't give you a team name. We might have been. Anyways, didn't know the story, but I got sitting with them. Four ladies that hadn't played together in 10 years came back and whooped everybody. And then George and Darlene Shostak celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And there was a bunch of people who just showed up because we had the thing for the petition downstairs. And there was a bunch of people who just showed up to hang out, have a couple beer, say hi. It was wonderful.
And those ladies were vicious.
Oh, they're killers, man. Just stone cold killers. Yeah, like it wasn't even funny. But I mean, the thing about it is, I've said this before, but women have a natural advantage this is a sport where women have a natural advantage in because it combines the two things that they're best at, which are sweeping and yelling.
Of
course, here's Carrie Ann.
and there she is. There she is. All right. Hello, Carrie Ann. Yes, the Mashbiel champ from the first ever Mashbiel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a lot of people. I told you this before, but people weren't asking, "Are you guys going to do this again?" So, for those of you just tuning in, we did a 4-sheet tournament, 64 people, 16 teams, sold out, a ton of fun. Everybody had a blast, and like I said, this wasn't a question of, "Are you guys going to do this again?" or "What do you think about it?" It was either, "Are you guys? I'm coming to this every year." Or are you guys going to do it in the same venue or are you going to do it somewhere else? Or the other one I got was, how many of these are you guys going to do next year?
I'll sit here and say I was skeptical, and because I'm not a curler, but it was a ton of fun. It was a lot of fun. And you're right. Everybody was asking when we're going to do the next one, which I chuckled about. I'm like, how about we just finish the first one, folks? I got my groin hurted from doing that movement of throwing the rock for like 5 days after. I know I'm getting older, but man alive.
I didn't realize when you look at your delivery, you kind of do this thing where you do a half spin at the end and you stick your butt up in the air like a silverback gorilla trying to attract a mate.
Hey, Twos, I was curious, who won in the head-to-head match between us?
Oh, who won in the was that a head-to-head match between us?
It was.
I don't know if you could reasonably call it that. So for those of you who don't know, Sean got there a day early, spent hours throwing rocks while the rest of us are just trying to accomplish shit in the world. He shows up a day early, gets a tutorial from an absolute sniper who is, I didn't catch his age. I'm guessing somewhere around 14 or something like that. But again, like just vicious. And then, so for those of you who don't know, the teams were already set up. The brackets were already done. And he's throwing a bunch of rocks with this kid who's going to get the Mashbiel the next day. And then he says, "Well, you're pretty good at this. Do you want to be on my team?" The kid says, "Sure." And so, it's basically the 2020 U.S. election. Everything's already figured out. Everybody's gone to bed for the night. Everybody's gone home. And then the graph goes bloop because he moved him over to his team. And then he rearranged the brackets so that we were actually going to meet.
Have to have.
And then he was lead in the games up until I pulled him aside and I was like, "Sean, if we're going to be playing against each other," this was in the third game, "if we're going to be playing against each other, you need to skip it because it's not really the same thing at all if you're just playing lead, which is what you were, and I was skipping on my team." And so he says, yeah, sure. But then he doesn't even actually skip. This kid plays third for the game, and the kid's calling all the shots. The kid's saying, "We're going to throw this here. We're going to do this here." Puts 50 miles on in one game because he's got to go back and forth every damn time. When Sean was throwing, he wasn't even pretending to be in charge. He would just stay on the throwing end, and he would wait for instructions from the third, despite the fact that he's supposed to be skipping that game. He literally Joe Biden auto-penned the whole thing. He was sleepy Joe Biden. The kid was Klaus Schwab running things from the World Economic Forum. And Sean Newman was Justin Trudeau from the NSYNC video. No strings attached. Bye, 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 bye. Didn't have anything to do with the outcome of the game and still wants to try and claim props for having won a game that he stacked the team after it had already been set, rearranged the brackets, and then didn't even fucking pretend to skip.
So that is a long way, folks, of getting to the answer. Twos, who won that game?
Your third won that game.
You could just say it. We won. 1. 2, you're right. I wasn't going to have us play each other. But then if people recall Mashup 191. What did you do? We're going to have Mac Meal. You're not even going to play? I'm like, okay, fine. You want to play? Fine. So we played. And then you leave out maybe the most important point, Mr. Skip, Mr. Twos. I'm so bloody good. Kevin, get out of here for a second. It's a 2-1 game. We're lying 2. Twos has a shot to tie, win, wherever you want to go. And what did you do, Twos? What did you do?
I had to get it around a tight
What did you
guard.
do?
I had to get it around a tight
I'm
guard.
not. You're not doing
exactly
this
the
whole
button for a
explaining
tie.
thing. You missed the shot.
So I
You
missed
had
the
the
takeout.
chance,
I tried to
you
do
had
all
the
takeout
chance,
and it
and you
quite
didn't
work.
do it. And that means we won. And you can criticize my leadership style on the curling ice all you want, but we
Your
won.
leadership style?
And that, folks,
Sleepy
is the
Joe
story
Biden
here.
is not a leadership style.
He can try and go all through the weeds of this.
You may as well have been surfing in Tofino while the game was happening for all your leadership on this.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Twos lost. That's that. He won't say it, but there it is. Twos had his magical head-to-head with a chance to tie or win, whatever he wants to put there, and you missed. And you were silent the rest of the tournament. It was glorious, folks. It was glorious. And I've been waiting for Mashup 192 to talk all about it. And Twos has been writing furiously.
So anyway, let's get into the news here this week. First off, this one is just a little bit fresh off the press. Sean didn't even see this before. This is how recently I came across it. Feds cancel $12 million housing grant after Red Deer pushes back against zoning changes. And look at how short this is the entire news article, folks. Millions of dollars earmarked for affordable housing in Red Deer have been canceled by the federal government. The money was part of the Housing Accelerator Fund. It was conditional on a zoning change that would allow up to 4 units per residential lot. Residents pushed back on the idea, so Red Deer.
Twos, you're all over the place. You're literally. I assume everybody else is hearing it. Your internet connection. Here, I'll bring it back in. But you're like cutting in and out.
Audio cutting in and out, or everything cutting in and out?
Everything delayed.
Okay,
now you're back. You're back now. So if you want to finish,
right. I never left. That prompted the federal government to cancel its $12 million grant. Ottawa says it's working with the city of Red Deer on next steps. So we suppose on so many other cities, we're like, so the entire population is against this blanket rezoning, and the city's doing it anyway. And then they'll have months of hearings, and at the end of it, they're like, well, fuck you, we're going to do what we want. And it doesn't make a lick of sense. Believe it or not, Canada's got a lot of spare land. We don't really need to stack everybody on top of each other. So why are we doing this? It doesn't make any sense. Why are these tiny lots or getting rebuilt on a normal sized lot with 4 fucking houses? Why? Well, because the federal government doesn't explicitly tell you what you can and can't do. They angle a pretty big fucking carrot if you do it.
it must be the cold must not like, or the internet must not like the cold out and where you're at, because you keep, every time you start yelling, you go all jumbly. So I don't know if it has anything to do with anything but your internet connection today. I assume everybody else is seeing this and hearing this. Please do comment.
Okay.
But anyways,
maybe I just shouldn't yell.
okay. Good luck with that.
Okay.
Coming off a mash spiel loss, I don't think you're going to be the non-yeller today. I get a year of this. This is great. This is great. Okay. Coots 6.5. Can I switch? Because right now you're jumbly and your screen keeps going blurry on me, and I assume you're there. Anyways, now you're back. I don't know. Is anybody else seeing this? Like I'm waiting for a post to say, yeah, we're seeing.
Usually it shows up in the corner when I've got a bad connection. You know, it'll kind of do like the bars going down and check your. Sounds like Bell on the highway. I don't know. It looks good on my end. I don't know. I could try and reset real quick while you just filibuster.
Sure, if you want.
Go through a couple articles. I'll see you in a bit.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, let's do some of the big news. In the Coot 6.5, we talk about lots of the um, rough stuff going on in society today. Might be the easiest way to put it. And on Friday, a three-judge panel of the Federal Court of Appeal unanimously upheld Judge Richard Mosley's trial division, finding that the Trudeau's government 2020 use of Emergencies Act powers was unlawful and unreasonable. I think we all knew that, but I think it's positive. I think I can use that word, that they upheld it. I mean, doesn't that just seem self-evident at this point? But it did happen, and oh yeah, here we go. We got some people coming in. Morning, Claire, and Tom Paisley, sound and visual tweaking, watching from London, Ontario. Hello, London, Ontario. Anyways, going back to this, yeah, I think upholding Richard Mosley's findings is good news. And I don't know, in a world in Canada where we seem to have less than good news on a weekly basis, that's something else. I want twos in here for the independence talk, but maybe I'll just start by a couple of different things. There's the independence talk has showed up at Zero Hedge, which I thought Twos had shared that article, which was interesting to me. Alberta sees large turnout for petition to separate from Canada. Here's what I separated out from it, folks. Arguments against the referendum say that Alberta is landlocked, which would make it separation economically disastrous. This is not entirely true. Their short border with the U.S. and newfound sovereignty would allow the province to establish more significant oil pipelines, which the Canadian government has constantly blocked in the past. The development along the greater resource exploration and alliance with American interests would make Alberta one of the wealthiest regions in the Western Hemisphere. Furthermore, Alberta stretches within 700 miles of the Arctic, an area of the world which is quickly becoming central to geopolitics. Early warning systems and NORAD bases in Alberta are integral to U.S. security. These bases could shut down in an event of conflicts between Canada and the U.S. escalate. A free Alberta could become vital to U.S. defense. The debate over U.S. ownership of Greenland is only one element. A larger global shift to the north, Alberta's exit from Canada, and potential alliance with the U.S. could have vast implications for international relations. Sorry, Twos, if you're just catching up, what I hopped to was the fact that Zero Hedge has now chimed in on Alberta independence. I think that's interesting. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other articles we can get to. I just hopped into the independence chat. I haven't shown any of the videos of the lineups, anything like that. This is the first thing I was talking about. I thought Zero Hedge chiming in was interesting.
Well, I mean, it definitely is, but it's tricky because this, we could get into, this tweet, for example, perfect example. An unsubstantiated claim. Alberta has severe foreign influence problem. We need to get louder. Lots of exclamation marks. And then a guy whose name is Jay in Kiev is talking about it. Russia's project to get Alberta to secede from Canada is now gaining steam. So first off, the idea is a shit idea on its own. Let's say you're Russia. You want all of Canada to be as weak as possible. And it is, because the way Confederation's set up is hot garbage. If you want it to be as weak as possible, you've got a situation where the vast majority of the country never has to do anything with their lives and do anything substantial because they get a shit ton of free money, while at the same time, the people who actually build the things and make the things are brought down by the fact that they need to give so much of that wealth away. This is currently the weakest possible version of what is now on the map known as the area known as Canada. Okay. So if you had Alberta separate from Canada, the rest of Canada would have to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and actually fucking get jobs. And Alberta would be unfettered by the handouts that they're required to give away. So this falls apart just as a concept, or falls apart just as a concept. But here's the other thing. Why is a guy named Jay in Kiev complaining about foreign interference in Canada? His bio says American in Ukraine. An American guy in the Ukraine is complaining about foreign interference and the unsubstantiated claims that Alberta's sovereignty movement is led by that.
Well, first, it's X, so I don't really care about one random guy's post on it, but I get your point you're making. To me, Zero Hedge is different. That's an outlet that a ton of people turn to, and a ton of people I know write for.
The
And so
Alberta
to me,
independence movement is foreign-backed, foreign-funded, and promoted by foreign social media accounts. This person in Texas has over 2 million followers. Investigations need to happen. There's a whole there's a whole bunch. Okay, it's not that it's isolated. It's that was just one that I handpicked as an example this week.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and then you have Patrick Lennox, former RCMP intelligence on Substack, chiming in. This question hanging in the air in Alberta. People are asking how it can be possible that the very same individuals who are leading the separatist movement can also be 3 meetings deep in a relationship with senior officials of the Trump administration. Treason, sedition, traitorous. These are words ricocheting around the radio talk shows and social media channels, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on to talk about a whole bunch, which he actually gets to saying there's not much that can be done. We have to see how this plays out. But I chuckle because I'm like, aren't these the same people that when Trump was attacking or tracking Canada in the middle of a federal election and allowing Carney to go elbows up and change the entire landscape of how a federal election in Canada was going to go? Isn't that a foreign influence really changing the direction of a country?
These aren't the same people who want the 11 MPs that CISA specifically said had been compromised to be exposed. These aren't the same people who were complaining when Greta Thunberg showed up during the 2019 or 2021 federal election to carry water for Justin Trudeau. You can't just handpick what you do and don't like on a subject, because if you do, you're a leftist piece of shit. Okay? And that's exactly what this is. Like, let's have an honest conversation. If you don't want foreign interference, then that should just be blanket, because it's very clear if you look at a map of the world, which parts are and are not Canada. Okay. And then if you say that people chiming in like Zero Hedge, because here's the thing is we're getting to a point, when you look at these lineups and stuff like that, I'm just going to throw this up with no music. When you look at lineups like this, it's too big to rig. It's too big to deny. That's a lot of people. This is Edmonton. This is a city full of blue hair, nose ringed government bureaucrats who accomplished nothing in their entire careers. And even within that staunch majority of people, there are still miles of lineup people to sign something to just give them a chance to vote on the first vote that would ever matter in their lives federally. That's a lot of people dissatisfied with the status quo. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of fur hats there. They don't all appear to be Russian plants. These are regular, everyday people. And that's the thing that they really don't like. So you're going to see the same thing you saw with the convoy, eventually with this. If this keeps going and these videos of lineups keep happening, and I hope they do, you're going to see a whole lot of claims about foreign interference. You're going to see them really go elbows up on this. It's going to get dirty, and it's going to be besmirching every single person who has anything positive to say about it, including us.
There's a ton of people chiming in on it, but the thing about it is the reason they're doing that should encourage people. It's because there isn't just 5 people in a room talking about this.
Right.
As two showed up with the
right.
video, but you're seeing the videos, I posted one or reposted one video of a small hamlet in Alberta, and I forget how many people are standing outside. Somebody commented, there's only 40 people there. I'm like, it's 40 people in the middle of nowhere, and they're the ones on the outside in a hamlet. I'm like,
it's a hamlet. There's only 40 people that live in the hamlet,
and they're all there. It's like you can try and write this off, and that's what they started, and now it's gaining such traction. Now they have to attack it with all the foreign collusion, all the things.
Is the besmirching. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Ottawa, and every fucking stupid thing they do to us is foreign interference.
Now, another thing here in Alberta, Pierre Poilievre will run in another riding in the next election. Former MP Damien Carrick to run again in Battle River Crowfoot. And so that's some news on the politics front here in Alberta specifically. Pierre just literally ran last year in the by-election to get back into Parliament.
And then
And
he's like, okay, I got what I need from you. Peace out. So for those of you who still think that the Federal Conservative Party represents your interests, you got to explain this to me like I'm 5, because I don't see it. I don't.
I think
not at all.
I think it's just the gamesmanship of politics, isn't it? They needed him back. They wanted the leader of the official opposition back in the ability to talk. And so
they put him in
found,
one of the safest conservative ridings in the country. And once that's done, he's like, okay, well, you know what? I campaigned. I showed up at the town halls and the debates, and I said that I was going to represent you. And then I cared about what's going on in your community. But that was only until you guys voted for me. And now, fuck you. I'm going to go somewhere else.
I'm curious what people in that riding think of it, actually. Because it sounds like as they were doing it, Carrick was saying he was going to run there in the next election, that he was going to be the guy.
No, he wasn't. He got a job at a lobbying company. There was no talk about it being a temporary
I'm saying it. I don't
all.
live there. I don't live there at all. So I'm curious what people in that region think of what's going on there with Pierre and now Carrick coming back in. What else? We got the anti-racism watchdog fields complaint rising from immigration comments made at a separatist town hall. Alberta hate crime watchdog Stop Hate Alberta has received complaints rising from Alberta Prosperity's January 7th town hall in Didsbury. The complainant flagged comments that Mitch Sylvester made about white Albertans being replaced by immigrants. The complaint also suggested Sylvester said Christianity will soon be a hate crime. Will be a crime, sorry, not a hate crime, a crime in Canada, and the white Albertans shouldn't have to apologize for themselves. The president of Stop Hate Alberta, Soonpreet Singh Johal.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, aside from
come on, it's kind of like funny.
The silliness of this entire concept, there's something here that I found to be incredibly interesting. In the meeting, about 28 minutes into his speech, Sylvester claimed former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made the following statement. The very concept of a nation founded by European settlers is offensive to me. Old stock white Canadians are an unpleasant relic and quite frankly replaceable, and we will replace them. Okay. So, and then it says a number of internet watchdog sites have identified this as a meme with a fake quote. There's no verifiable documented proof Trump said this. And I was telling Mrs. Tews, I'm like, this is bullshit. Of course he said it. I remember this. And she's like, no. You remember seeing the quotes, but you've never seen that video because it doesn't exist. And I'm like, oh, that can't be right. Deep dive. Turns out he never actually said that. And so while everything else about this article is just stupid, to put it mildly, they are on point in that apparently Trudeau never did say that. Now, does it sound like something he would say? Absolutely. If you went and asked him about this instead of just putting up a meme, he probably would have said something like, yes, I do think that is an accurate representation of my thoughts. But looking back on it, this is something that he never did say. And again, the besmirching is going to be coming out fierce. So we need to make sure that we're on point and not.
You make a good point.
Quoting Mandela effect stuff. Because I thought that was a real quote. And I was all excited. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is perfect mashup material. Because they're going to say something like Snopes said it never happened or press progress. And then I'm going to jump in and be like, well, actually, motherfuckers, play. Except footage does not exist.
Lethbridge Firefighters Union ditches Alberta Federation of Labor and calls for McGowan's resignation.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So what happened with the follow-up to apparently while the negotiations were going on with the teachers, the the AFL was being cautioned to not push Danielle Smith to the point where she invoked the notwithstanding clause. And then they did that anyway. And then they said, we are going to have strikes across all public sectors all across the province. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's weird. Why haven't we heard about that? That's because it never happened. Because believe it or not, public sector unions are fucking lazy. And so now they're calling for his resignation.
Canadians are leaving in record numbers. Most are prime-aged workers. I'm going to pull up the chart here so people can see this. Canadian immigration. Is that how I say that, too? Immigration?
So immigration means come in. Immigration means go out.
All right. Immigration has been climbing for years. StatsCan annual estimates measured July 1st of each year shows 120,000 immigrants left Canada in 2025. This represents 3% increase from a year earlier, marking the fourth consecutive year of growth. The volume has nearly doubled in the past decade, reaching a level likely to outpace population growth this year.
Now, I just want to point out, so it mentions in the article that the immigration had been largely attributed to COVID. Okay. Now, each one of those lines on that graph you're showing is a year. 2017 is the high water mark there.
Yes.
2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, low. And then as things got
well, I mean, in
back to normal-
2021, nobody could literally leave the country. I mean,
Yeah.
people could, but anyways,
Yeah.
carry on.
And so now that people are allowed to travel again, the numbers went right the fuck back up.
Yeah. So in 2023, you had 113,000 leave. 2024, 116,000. 2025, 120,000.
And so,
And if you
anyway,
if
the
you
point
go
is
if
that
you
when
go
people
back
are- when
if you
people
go-
say, "Oh, it's just because of COVID," this shows literally the exact opposite.
if you go back to when back to when Harper was in 61,000, 58, 61. So you go what looked like pretty average in the low to mid 60s, right? A couple of 50s in the early 2000s, and then 2015 65, 2016 67, and then as Two's pointing out, it doubled in 2017 or almost.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. It's almost as though there had been just enough time to start to see the economic effects of voting in a part-time drama teacher and snowboard instructor as leader of this country.
Yeah, and it goes on to talk about the age groups, and it's a lot of young Canadians leaving.
25
Able-bodied.
to 49.
Yeah.
People who work, people who do things and build things. The people with rough, dirty, calloused hands. Not calloused hand, calloused hands.
Murders plummeted more than 20% in the U.S. last year. Murders plummeted 20% in 2025 from the year before, the single largest one-year drop on record, and it might be the lowest murder rate in the U.S. since 1900. A study released Thursday by the Council on Criminal Justice found the annual crime rate trends report and analyzed data from 40 large cities across the United States from 13 different crime types, including murder, carjacking, theft, and drug offenses. Alongside homicides, which dropped 21% from 2024, carjackings have declined 61% since 2023, and shoplifting is down 10%.
Well, I mean, that's such a strange occurrence. You'd almost think that they experienced some kind of a major demographic shift recently. Like, I wonder if it's just the fact that, it kind of seems like all the people doing these crimes just disappeared somehow. Like they just vanished. Maybe they just got frozen in ice.
Toronto real estate, 100,000 jobs at risk as new home sales drop to the lowest level in 45 years. GTA
I'd like to point out that we were on the cutting edge of seeing this unfold.
GTA new home sales in December 2025 reached an all-time low, bringing a fitting close to 2025. Never in the 45 years that the new home sales data have been collected for the GTA have we seen 5,300 sales for an entire year, said Edward Jag, research manager at Altus Group. There were 240 new home sales in December, which was down 24% from December 2024 and 82% below the 10-year average.
we're getting close to the point where we're going to see a news article in a few months saying that there have been fewer houses built now than got built in 1491.
Blame for 1491. 1491.
Yes.
All right.
What happened in 1492?
Well, 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Right. And so there weren't a whole lot of wooden structures being built in Toronto before that.
Blame for Jasper wildfire falls squarely on the shoulders of Trudeau Liberal mismanagement. Tell me something I didn't know. The Jasper wildfire that destroyed 1/3 of the mountain park town in the summer of 2024 was caused mostly by negligent forest management by Parks Canada, not climate change. In an analysis of the hugely destructive fires uncovered by online news service Blacklock's reporter, the Canadian Forest Service said the hundreds of thousands of acres of dead trees that the Parks Canada failed to remove were a key contributing factor. Shocker.
Yeah. So, I mean, you actually were on the cutting edge of talking about that when you had the round table and you had all the forestry guys on. And meanwhile, the legacy media and the liberal politicians and Elizabeth May with her crazy googly eyes and a bottle of fucking vodka were talking about how it's climate change that did this. Climate change, climate change, climate change. And no amount of reason would get through to them. You know, you can't just a reasonable conversation about what were the contributing factors. But no. We got to be as crazy about this as possible. Elizabeth May is so fucking insane, Sean, that you would have to fuck her with a tinfoil condom.
What? Oh my goodness. Welcome to Mashup 192. Tuesday's got a shoddy internet connection and he is on fire with I don't know. You keep coming and going. It's all right.
All right.
German Chancellor World Economic Forum. Are you going to show this video? Do you want to show the video?
Yeah. I think this is like just hilarious. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, which, by the way, is a conspiracy theory. What I'm about to show you is a fucking myth. It's not true. It never happened. It's a conspiracy theory.
We are aware of those problems. Both Germany and Europe have wasted incredible potential for growth in recent years by dragging feet on reforms and unnecessarily and excessively curtailing entrepreneurial freedoms and personal responsibility. We are going to change that now. Security and predictability take precedence over excessive regulation and misplaced perfection. We must reduce bureaucracy substantially in Europe. The single market was once created to form the most competitive economic area in the world, but instead, we have become the world champion of over-regulation.
That sounds exactly like Canada, doesn't that?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's crazy to me. I've been saying this all week, I guess, on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we were talking about the World Economic Forum years ago, and it was that crazy theory, or, like this doesn't really exist. And now you had Trump speak, you had Carney speak, you just showed the video of the German chancellor. Like, I mean, the White House literally had, what do they call it? A presidential address from the World Economic Forum. I'm like, I thought this thing didn't exist. Wasn't that what they were telling us only 5 years ago?
It's far-right conspiracy.
This doesn't exist. There's no such thing. Like,
and then now,
suck on it, folks.
Meme where it's happening, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. Tabor man arrested for alleged sexual assault of a 12-year-old girl. This one's ugh. An investigation determined that a man met teens on social media, and after driving them to several locations, he brought them to a hotel room where they were given alcohol. An alleged sexual assault occurred while police conducted
one boy and 5 girls aged 12 to 14.
Correct. And the guy who was 22, Yavirez Singh.
Yep. He got released on bail, fled the country, and then
came back.
Yeah, and then came back for some stupid reason. and then got arrested as soon as he got off the plane. So, I mean, it's great that you're retarded, but maybe we shouldn't have let him fly back in the first place. Just leave him over there.
A whole bunch of things too is on this story. Just a whole bunch. Man.
Sing with me. Sing for the ears. Sing for the laughter. Sing for the tears.
GFL announces relocation of headquarters to U.S. to support enhanced global shareholder ownership. One of the things Tuz and I have been discussing in, I don't know how many mashups has been, folks, but, watching all the businesses move their headquarters or different projects out of Canada. Here's another one. GFL Environmental Inc. announced today that it has relocated its executive headquarters from Vaughan, Ontario to Miami Beach, Florida. There's a whole bunch of reasons why they state, but
I would do it just for the weather, personally. Like if I was, because here's the thing, is the people who work in that building are the ones who decide where that building is located. And so you get into some polar vortex or some shit like that, you look around and you're like, okay, who decides that we need to be here? We do. So we get to just pick wherever in the world we want to be? Yeah. Well, let's go to the fucking beach, shall we?
It's just another business that's made headlines of leaving Canada, or at least their headquarters in this case, leaving Canada.
Specifically Vaughan, Ontario. So I'm sure that Doug Ford is going to do a press conference where he's just going to rip open a garbage bag and dump it out all over the parking lot.
U.S.
being a garbage disposal company.
Yes, they are. U.S. officially exits World Health Organization. Today, the United States withdrew from the World Health Organization, freeing itself from its constraints as President Donald Trump promised on his first day in office. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. declared on January 22nd. This action responds to the WHO's failure during the COVID-19 pandemic and seeks to rectify the harm from those failures inflicted on the American people.
It doesn't make sense for any mature nation to be part of the World Health Organization. It simply doesn't. Like there's no benefit to be had. And you might make an argument like, oh, well, it's good for us to be stewards of this or some fucking thing like that. But just a blanketly partisan organization that changes its mind every couple weeks and threw the whole world into chaos for multiple years. You're like, you guys fucking suck at this. We're going to go in a different direction. Well, what's the matter? What, you don't like us? No, I don't really care about you personally. This isn't a reflection on you as individuals. It's just that you fucking suck at your job and we're not going to fucking pay you to wreck our country anymore. Oh, why are you being mean? We're not being mean. We don't care about you at all, one way or the other on a personal level. But on a professional level, as I said before, you fucking suck. Peace out.
Gun buyback program. You had, I don't know. You want, here's all the people that are against it. Tuz is probably going to show you some videos. Alberta won't participate. Wab Canoe says Manitoba's not participating. Barrie Police opt out of the federal gun grab. New Brunswick Police say they won't help. Northwest Territories rejected it. Toronto Police Service, the largest in the country, said in a statement to the Toronto Sun on Tuesday that they are not participating. Doug Ford says he won't. I mean,
well, he didn't say he won't. He said it's going to be ineffectual. Or maybe he did say he won't. I can't even keep up. So Northwest Territories and Yukon, Alberta and Saskatchewan. Winnipeg said they're not going to help out. Everybody except for fucking Quebec and New Brunswick, who hasn't openly said whether they can or not, but the police force said they don't have the money to do it, which is basically saying, hey, we can give you a little bit of good optics if you grease the fucking wheels, which is greasy because you shouldn't care about your support or lack thereof on this issue should stand on its merits alone, not how much the federal government is going to give you. You fucking sellout pieces of shit. Okay? Now, Gary Annanan said, I think I'm saying that right. Ratioed into oblivion. There are like, here, if I go to the comments, there's 1,500 comments and 69 likes on this. Here's Wob Canoe. Now, I just want to. This is a little bit long, and I'm gonna try and find the right spot by guessing roughly where it is.
Rather, about firearms and gun control and stuff like that. But we also have to look at what this is. It's a federal government program that doesn't appear to be very efficient, doesn't appear to be well run. And so for us looking at that, why would we want to take on that whole headache? I think, again, you're free to have your views about firearms and the legislation that we should have, but it's just our view that looking at this is not a good program to get involved with.
I ask it that way because you couch this in the statements, your government couched this yesterday in the statements that, as a hunter, we appreciate, we understand what people are coming from. Hunters don't use assault rifles to mow down deer in a row here.
Okay. Now, Wob did pretty good with this. But if I was going to give the politicians or anybody being asked to speak about this who's fielding questions from reporters, I would just be like, look, I'm going to stop you right there. There's no such thing as an assault rifle. They're not used to mow down rows of anything. Fully automatic firearms have been prohibited in this country since 1977. So if anybody can show me their pal or our pal, I'll take the next question from them. That's how I handle this. You're in a room with people with very strong opinions based on literally fuck all. And you need to point that out.
Twos, I'm ready to laugh just a little bit. Could you show us some videos of drivers? One of the things to the folks who didn't tune in maybe the last couple of weeks, if you're new to the show, anything, we do this segment called Drivers. And I used to go through them all. And then one week they weren't populated. And so I had to watch them all with you at the same time. And I enjoyed it so much. I'm like, I'm never going back to reading these articles. I'm never going back to watching these videos. I want to see them firsthand. So twos, I'm curious what you dug up on drivers this week.
Okay. Let me just read this. This isn't a video. I'm just going to read this. Ottawa OPP stopped this driver on Highway 417 shortly before 2 p.m. after the driver flashed their high beams multiple times at the officer's cruiser, no apostrophe, in an effort to have him move out of the fast lane. Clearly, the driver, who displays anti-tailgating message on the back of their vehicle, did not realize they were behind an unmarked police car. The driver was charged for improper use of high beams, a $110 fine. So the unmarked police car was cruising along slowly in the left lane, and when they got high beams flashed at them, saying, get the fuck out of the way, they turned on the whirly birds, pulled the guy over, and gave him a fine. This is a dick move. This is peak Ottawa. I just want to point that out. Okay? Here's this one's pretty good. So I threw it in with drivers. Looks like an electric city bus is calling it quits and heading back to the garage, out of service at 9:26 a.m. on a minus 29 degree morning. Now, if you watch this video, you'll see that it can barely put together enough juice to keep the lights on, and they just keep flickering. At minus 29, and there's the light. Just flickering, flashing, because there isn't enough juice in the electric bus to keep the fucking lights on it. And this is what we thought was going to be a good idea for Regina. Here's one. This is just a whole bunch of wheat. You gotta. We covered one of these a few weeks ago. You gotta make sure shit's closed up before you start driving down the highway. Imagine if an oil truck did that. Imagine if some big super bee from Gibson's or something like that did this.
It has happened.
Brampton man charged after getting pulled over on QEW with missing tires, OPP. Now, for those of you listening and not watching, he's bobtailing, and he's got 4 tires on the driver's side and just the 2 inside tires on the passenger side. And the rims look like, I don't even know what to say. Like, they look like Rihanna when she was still dating Bobby Brown. And so they pulled this guy over, and while they had him pull over, he was quickly trying to do his pre-trip because apparently he hadn't done a pre-trip. No shit, Sherlock. But also, trying to do a pre-trip is not going to save you from something like this, because you cannot reasonably tell me that you checked the air levels in those tires that are not fucking there. All right. Now this, well, it's funny because I was watching this with no sound the first time I saw it with Mrs. Twos, and then this guy gets around to saying exactly what I was saying. So you see, here's a semi. It's got chains on one of the driving tires.
Welcome to an unnamed company that is definitely not Amazon, where we put tire chain on a fucking trailer too. Holy shit.
They chained up the trailer tires, Sean. They chained up the trailer tires. And then this one's good. I'm just going to play this.
LA City Council members Hugo Soto Martinez and Nithya Raman were on hand today to help remove the signs. They say the no cruising and no U-turn signs were put up in the 1990s to prevent people in the gay community from meeting up with other gay people.
I was also surprised that these U-turn signs were still
for those of you
up.
listening.
And at first, they seem a little.
This guy's name is maybe a girl.
Oh, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it and you realize that these were used to profile gay people, it's so important that we have these removed.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about transitioning, though. There is no U-turn. So anyway, that's what we got.
All right. Well, I was hoping
Those are the
for
drivers this week.
I was hoping for a guy going down the QE2 or something. But regardless.
All
right.
I'm sorry. The guy whose name is maybe a girl getting rid of no U-turn signs because they are discriminating against the gays. That wasn't silly enough for you? That wasn't goofy enough?
Well, speaking of goofy news, you know how we love to focus in on weather? Well, Alberta will be one of the coldest populated places on the earth this weekend. Northeastern and eastern Alberta, including Lakeland regions, face wind chills of -40 to -50, boys and girls. Buckle up. She's going to be chilly.
Click on that picture for a sec. Look at this. So, you know how like stereotypes exist for a reason and common sayings tend to have a lot of truth in them? It's really true what they say. Manitoba is the prolapsed asshole of the world.
Sorry, Manitobans. Here's Carla Beck. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. It says, these are the weapons and paraphernalia seized at the single door at Royal University Hospital over the course of 4 months. Goes on to say, from a single door, there are 14 at the hospital. I'm told workers have been speaking out for months about safety in our hospitals. At nearby St. Paul's Hospital, 200 workers have signed a letter demanding more action from Scott Moe and the Sask party. So people are bringing they're confiscating. In this one, they got a handgun, knife, a whole bunch of bag of goodies, pliers, knives, alcohol.
Well, so here's the thing. I don't know if you've ever heard me say this before or not, Sean, but the NDP are not a serious party. Okay. And so, yes, there is a firearm there. And yes, there are machetes. And I get it. If it's your lucky machete and you're going into the hospital, you probably want to bring it with you. But look at everything else that's in there. You tell me that these are safety concerns from crackheads? There's a pair of channel lock pliers, a crescent wrench. How many different
some nunchucks
cutters? Okay, yes, like I said, it's not totally without merit. But a Leatherman? Really? You've got a Leatherman as something that you're concerned about? Let's look at the next picture. We've got manicurist tools. There are 2 vapes over there. I zoomed right in on that thing just beside that one vape, and I cannot for the life of me tell if it's a plumb bob or a butt plug. But either way, I don't think it's a safety concern for anybody else at the store. You've got a butter knife that had been seized, and then a Milwaukee folding knife. Do you have any idea how expensive those Milwaukee knives are? That is not crackhead paraphernalia. That's something that somebody uses. That's a daily, everyday use thing, like so many people in the world have, just pocket knives. That's what it is. Do you honestly want to tell me that some crackhead who can't scrunch together enough money for a fucking cup of coffee and tries to steal it surreptitiously from McDonald's is going to save up his crack money to go out and buy a Milwaukee knife? Come on. And needle nose pliers. And then even in this one, you've got a bunch of folding knives that look like work knives, roofing nails in the top, roofing nails. Okay. There's a pair of just regular ass pliers that's still in the package. There's a scraper right next to a couple pairs of nail clippers. And actually, I forgot to point it out, but in the second picture, there was a pair of tweezers. This is everything the TSA was in 2002. Come on, let's be a little bit serious about this, shall we? I get the fact that there's some stuff that's there legitimately, right? Not taken away from that. But there are a half dozen assorted sizes of side cutters at the bottom of that picture. And I'm a guy who loves the idea of a half dozen assorted sizes of side cutters because they are the most useful tool you will ever own. But come on, NDP. I know expect very little of you, but this is fucking nuts.
In Minneapolis, there's a video. I assume you want to show it if it'll come through. Currently standing outside a hotel in minus 15-degree weather, banging pots and playing instruments to keep J.D. Vance from sleeping inside his hotel. Little do they know, J.D. Vance landed back in D.C. 5 hours ago.
Just when you thought Martin Vance could be any more gay, they go ahead and do something like this to try and keep a guy from sleeping who isn't even there anymore.
Show the video of Veronica the cow.
Yeah.
I mean, on our show, that could mean a lot of things, folks, but it's actually Veronica the cow.
Yeah, this isn't an NDP thing we're talking about. This is a cow in Austria who has figured out how to use a broom that they keep out in the field for her to scratch herself whenever she gets itchy or whatever. She uses multiple different ends depending on what angle she needs. And it turns out one of Veronica's skills has only been seen in humans and chimpanzees. That's not true. Crows and what are those Galapagos Island, the finches, I want to say, also have been known to use tools as well.
I feel like, Claire, if you're listening or watching, that someday you're going to send me a video of one of your animals doing something similar. Just throwing that out there. Claire is the one who named a rooster after twos.
That is correct.
Turkey. Can't remember. Was it a rooster or was it? Regardless, she named two birds. Regardless, William Shat. No. I'm jumping ahead. Weight loss drugs like Ozempic on track to save U.S. airlines more than $500 million in fuel costs this year as planes become lighter.
Well, the planes don't become lighter, but the people in them sure fucking do. So, it's nice that we're getting to a point where there's a lot more normal calorie humans in the world.
YouTuber Jesse James West held a competition to see who's stronger between tall, strong bodybuilding women and strong dwarf men.
You
heard that right.
Show this. Of course, we're going to show this.
I hope it just doesn't glitch.
Well, look at these giant athletic women. Like, this is total death by snoo material right here. And then I've got nothing but time for anything to do with midgets. So here we go.
These are female giants. And they are the world.
There, I'm just going to mute that. Maybe.
Is that heightist? So one of them squatted 500 pounds. And then the midget comes in and does 585. 3 reps. And then they got them ring wrestling.
The video is just glitching
Midgets
on
are
this.
just tossing these women around like rag dolls.
The video is just glitching on this end too. So here, let me see if I can pull it up.
It's not even like it's showing up perfectly normal on my end. I'm not getting any like I don't know what the hell is going on with StreamYard. Anyways, the midgets are throwing around these like 6.5 feet tall Amazons, just yeeting them out of the ring. And then the third one was that they were doing a series of deadlifts of plates. And the women stalled three plates on a side, and the midgets got to 4. The gist of it is that the biggest, strongest, most athletic women in the world cannot compete with midget men.
Here,
It's okay. Let's just move past it.
No, because now I'm just gonna pull it up here so people can see. Just bear with me. You're going down. Yeah. I don't need that on, and I'm just gonna fast forward it here. Okay, this is what 2 is. Here's where they're wrestling.
Just tossing them, and then doing this tiny little like pudgy-handed, giant forehead victory laps. And yeah, the women got trounced in this. Absolutely trounced. And like they're no slouches. Like those women are specimens. And meanwhile, there's the midges. I'm sure I told you the story about the time I went to to Chicago. And
this is good too.
Oh yeah, that's the other one where the midgets had to drag the Amazons, and then the Amazons had to drag the midgets, and the midgets were able to carry them further than the Amazons were.
I ever tell you when we played basketball when I was playing out in Ontario, we had a traveling show come through. They were speaking to kids at schools, and they're basketball players, and they wanted to play a group of us, and they were kind of like they had this like little show and stuff. They were freaking good, man. They were drilling midgets. They were drilling 3-pointers, and like they had a whole skit, right? Like it was a ton of fun. Yeah, they were good. Like it was cool to see firsthand.
So were they shooting like 1.5 pointers?
They were shooting 3-pointers.
I went down to Chicago for a little vacation for a few days back in the day, and couldn't figure out, but there was this set of steps pushed up against the front desk at the hotel, because you know how like the front desks are always so high up in hotels, right? And so there was this little set of steps that they had pushed up with a handrail on one side. I'm like, well, that's so weird. Get up the next morning, and the entire hotel was overrun with midgets. It turned out that I was staying at the hotel at the same time as they were hosting the annual conference for the Little People of America. So you go down to get breakfast, just midgets everywhere. Midgets here, midgets there. You duck your head into like one of the rooms that they have in hotels. It was a room full of midgets. You will never see more midgets in your life. And it just so happened that the random hotel I booked on Expedia for that random weekend was the Little People of America.
Joe Mama says something is wrong with 2's connection. I agree. He's glitching.
I think it's on StreamYard's end because nothing's showing up on this end.
Seems to be fine on my end. Anyways, let's go to William Shatner. I don't know why this is in here, but regardless, I'm sure
hilarious?
has 2. The 94-year-old Star Trek legend was spotted at LA stoplight Monday, raising a spoon of what looks like to be raisin bran.
William Shatner is eating cereal while he's driving.
Correct.
How do you
at
not
94.
find that to be amusing? This is the hard-hitting news that you don't find in the legacy media, Sean.
Here is lottery.
That says the elevators were twice as efficient that day.
Lottery winners in Quebec chooses $1,000 a week for life instead of $1 million. and you wonder why that province votes Liberal, they're pointing at her age, folks.
Yeah. Oh,
Tooz has got people coming in. His StreamYard is glitching.
That's right. We're dog sitting, so the dogs are here. The dogs are here.
Well, we'll hurry it up here so you can get to
okay,
your...
that's fine. Here's the thing: is that while I take their point on it, if you actually break down the math, like how old do you think this lady is?
65.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Which means
how old do you think she is?
Somewhere ballpark there. I was thinking somewhere 60 to 65. Okay. She's going to live at least another 20 years. If she's getting $1,000 a week, the math isn't too horrible. The problem that they should have with this isn't the age. The problem is that over a 25-year span, your break-even point on the interest on taking the payout versus getting $1,000 a week is, depending on how the interest accrues, is something like around 2.19%. So if you can get anything better than 2.19%, you're better off taking the lump sum and then pulling out $1,000 a week. And if you get up like into the 5, 6, 7, 8, it's not even fucking close. So yeah, taking $1,000 a week while she's already super fucking old and French, probably a bad idea. But the fact that she took the $1,000 a week at all is economic illiteracy, and that's the point that should be made here.
I don't think 65 is that old, folks. Just going to throw that out there. I keep running into wonderful people who are living their best life at 65. Recall petition against why can't I say his name? Nicolaitis.
Because it's a mouthful.
They didn't get enough signatures. That's all you need to know.
No, and the interesting thing is that of all the news articles that you'll read about this, they'll talk about how Jenny Jeremy was the person who started this, and they'll interview her. What they failed to mention was that she ran against Dimitrios Nicolaitis in the last provincial election. You'd think that would be an important detail to mention, but it never gets mentioned. So they needed about 16,000, and they got about 6,000. So something like 3 or 4% of voters in that area supported the recall petition. And this is what I said. This is yet another Tuesday's right of the week. As I said, it doesn't really matter that all of these petitions are started. What matters is can they actually get the signatures before they become anything other than a nothing burger. And for those of you wondering, like, well, how many millions are going to be spent on this? Well, in this case, none.
Two's your internet is crap today. I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay.
Well, look,
here,
I
a couple of things before we get out of here. Okay. Casimir urges respect dialogue after ancestral remains lead to $80,000 bill for Kamloops property owner. They were doing landscaping, found 2 human skulls, which then the chief of Teklums T. Semgwaki, it doesn't matter, says any discovery of ancestral remains must be handled with dignity and respect, responding to headlines across BC about Kamloops property owner facing an $80,000 archaeological bill after prehistoric skulls were unearthed by landscapers last year. Then the guy hired his own archaeologist to come in, and he talked about how they looked like they were dumped there because there's a whole bunch of things in the skulls that don't match what was there. And
they were in a pile of sand that had been dumped there.
Correct. So that's going on. You have advocate build Cairo junket, a self-described watchdog for homelessness, build taxpayers nearly $14,000 for a business class junket to Cairo record show. Employees in access to information, emails questioned expenses charged by Mary Jose Hule, cabinet member at a $200,000 $13 a year housing advocate. It's my job to be a watchdog for housing and homelessness in Canada. And she went to Cairo and billed taxpayers $14,000 for it. You got Scott Moe on national unity. The challenges we're facing today are not coming.
Play this.
Oh, you play this.
Okay.
I got no sound. We'll see if it works. This is Scott Moe. I got nothing. Oh, wait a sec. That's why. Here, just a second. Oh, you got unmuted, Twos. It's muted on
Not
your
muted.
end. It's muted. I can see it's muted. Muted on the. It doesn't matter. Scott Moe said the challenges that we're facing today are not coming from Ottawa in our perspective. They are coming from other countries around the world. We need to work together to defend our Canadian economy and our Canadian way of life. That's Scott Moe.
He basically went all in on the elbows up thing. Because Carney said, come to China. We're going to fix this.
I know, Idaho, man. I know. Twos needs to figure his crap out. It's 1 day a week. And, isn't that the way it works? That's the way it works. That's the way live streaming goes.
But here's the thing is that Scott Moe got dragged to China to fix Carney's mistake. And then Carney now feels as though Scott Moe owes him, and Scott Moe feels as though he owes Carney, and he's carrying water in this bullshit. Like, look at him. Maybe the picture doesn't glitch out. Tell me he looks like anything other than a fucking hostage video right here. Grow a spine.
You got the biggest snowfall in 130 years in Kamchatka, Russia. People are leaving their apartment complex by the roof and sliding down. The videos coming out of this are just straight on wild. Look at this snow there. Holy crap, man. How many stories is that? 1, 2,
You're
3,
assuming you
4,
can see the
5.
bottom story. But 1, 2, 3, 4,
9?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they're going off the roof.
And they're going off the roof.
Yeah. And then here's another one.
Yep. Keep going. Keep going. Like they tunneled into the vehicle. Wow.
Yep. That's impressive.
That's impressive. I would not. I don't care how much snow's out there. I would not be doing this.
This is awesome. I would love to do this. Dude's jumping out of probably like a, 5 or 6 story building and just doing one nice little backflip into the snow. That's how much snow there is. That you're able to escape from your building like Tyrone in the second to last season of Game of Thrones, or pardon me, of The Wire, but without having to find a broom as a crutch afterwards.
We switch over to the sports desk. 2 stories here. Niners, the San Francisco 49ers, looking into everything, including substation theory, the theory that is the excessive exposure to electromotive force, EMF. Holy man. According to Over the Cap, the 49ers had 20 players on a reserve list this season, accounting for more than $95 million in adjusted annual value on their contracts, the highest amount in the league by nearly $20 million over second-placed Arizona. That comes on the heels of the 2024 season, in which the Niners led the league in adjusted games lost at 141.2, a number that estimates the impact of injuries on teams. And so they're looking at everything, including EMF.
Yeah, they're wondering if the EMF frequencies of the stuff around the stadium are causing people to get injured. Because, I mean, it's just so crazy that it seems like all these guys in San Francisco just go down so easily.
Alex Ovechkin leads a group of several Capitals players who refuse to partake in Pride festivals. They just skated on the ice with no Pride tape on.
Yeah, that's the article. Ovechkin came out with regular tape. He didn't wear the ribbon. So yeah,
best forever. I'd sleep. Sorry, Idaho man. Anyway, he already switching on me. Here, let's go to some happy news. This has been, I love live streaming, and the mashup has been great. But if there's ever something that's beyond frustrating, it's when the internet doesn't cooperate and it glitches, because obviously it throws off the rhythm of the show. So
why don't you try and play this then?
Play what?
The happy news.
Because I don't. I'll try. Give me a sec. Too.
Okay, we're gonna wait for Sean. I mean, I've got everything lined up. We do this every week. Isn't that what you were just saying, Sean? Get your shit together. Get it together.
Mhm,
Put it
mhm.
in a backpack. Take it to a museum. Okay? Get your shit together.
All right, here we go. Here's the happy news of the week, folks. Okay, we're gonna pull this up. Just a second. Just give me a second.
In a good way, by acknowledging the people who fund this municipal enterprise, the Toronto taxpayer. Let's reflect and remember that every word spoken in this chamber, every light bulb, and every salary paid, including those of city councillors, is funded almost entirely by the hard work and earnings of taxpayers and property owners. Nearly all of the city's $18.9 billion budget comes directly from them. We acknowledge that while taxpayers and property owners have endured an almost 20% increase in the last 3 years, only a small and insulated group decides how much of their income is expropriated to sustain a burgeoning municipal bureaucracy that continues to grow regardless of outcomes and results. We pay respect to those taxpayers because without them, this institution could not indulge in ideological excesses like renaming streets and public squares, painting roads with inferior and environmentally damaging red paint, nor fund harm reduction programs that result in a steady stream of drug paraphernalia littering our streets, sidewalks, parks, and playgrounds. In this spirit of acknowledgement and with an eye to the future, we recognize the Toronto taxpayer and revere their tolerance for being taxed.
That was great. Do you remember that time a couple months ago where Tu said that we should start all of these things with a taxpayer acknowledgement?
Yes, I do. I actually do.
Yes.
I actually do. I'm wondering if we shouldn't just clip that and just start playing that every day.
Like start every episode with it?
Yes. That I mean we could have our own spin on it. Tu should probably voice it, but that's just fantastic. That was fantastic.
That was great.
Community notes, okay?
There's a lot.
Well, you start with the fishing derbies.
With all of the fishing derbies?
Sure.
16th annual Regina Beach and District Lions Joe Meyer Memorial Ice Fishing Contest. $5,000 in prizes. Saturday, March 7th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. 5,000 in prizes? You only got to fish for 3 hours? 500 for biggest fish of each species. 300 for first fish, and $200 for hidden weight in each species. Species are perch, walleye, pike, burbot, and tilapia. Prize payouts to be prorated on number of participants. Registration and pancake breakfast at the Memorial Hall from 8 to 11. 25 for an adult, 15 for kids 12 and under. 2 holes per entry. That's what she said. Hot dogs and hamburgers available for sale on ice by volunteer fire department. 50-50 draw. Draws for donated prizes from great supporters of this event. If people want to donate money, reach out to us. We've got an email address you could send to. And then we've also got the Buffalo Lake one, which is February 16th or February 14th and 15th, I want to say. Here, I got it. February 14th and 15th, Big Jack Classic with $6,000 in cash and prizes.
We got one. I have one sent to me this morning. So it's called Geek on the Peak here in Lloydminster. Louis Stang and Ian Bull are staying outside of City Hall on an elevated platform for 6 days and live streaming the entire event. They're taking donations for, where is it? For Telemiracle 50 called, Kinsman Lloydminster are doing this fundraiser, Telemiracle 50, and they're staying in an igloo on a platform out front of City Hall too. So that should be interesting. And it should be interesting. And geekonthepeak.com is where you can find out more information regarding that one.
Yeah. Shout out to Brad in Bonnyville. March 28th, Cold Lake at the Energy Center is the 4th annual Thermal Cup hockey tournament. 8 teams from oilfield companies pitted against each other to raise money for 6 kid sport chapters in the region. Bonnyville, Cold Lake, Lloydminster, St. Paul, Vermilion, and Wood Buffalo. 8 teams: Synovus, CNRL, Conacher, Greenfire, Imperial Oil, Strathcona Resources, Cold Lake, Strathcona Resources, Lloydminster, and Suncor. I don't even know why you'd want to be in a tournament against CNRL. if it's anything the way their bidding process goes, they're just going to sit you aside and tell you how many fucking goals you're allowed to score. But it should be pretty fun regardless. The 2025 event raised 65 grand, and all the money stays within the local chapters.
Which brings me to, we got to figure out what we're going to call this. I'd love some input from the audience, but we'll start with Community Hero of the Week. Last week, Jamie came on, highlighted twos, or I guess that's what, two weeks ago?
Yeah.
Is that 2 weeks ago now? 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago.
And so we've been talking about some different people. And this past weekend at the Mashpiel, Darren Glubish was the man who stepped up and gave everybody safe rides home.
Yeah.
And that came, Jamie was on me about everybody drinking all day and having a safe ride to and from the hotel. And so a text got sent, Darren Glubish. So shout out to Darren. He stepped up.
Thank you again.
Drove people to and from, had the bus break down, lost the alternator, fixed it, and still arrived to take everybody to and from, charged us nothing. And I think that's something to really highlight this week. Darren Glubish, shout out to you. And yeah, the entire group out there, they were just fantastic. You got
a bunch of people.
You got an idea for what we should call it, folks? I'm all ears, because I think highlighting some of the best in our communities is a great idea. That comes initially from Jamie Sinclair. And I think there should be more of that. One other community note, obviously the Cornerstone Forum returns March 28th. And if you haven't got your tickets yet, some of the notable people coming to that: Neil Oliver, Premier Daniel Smith, Martin Armstrong, Tom Luongo, Alex Craner, Matt Arrett, Chad Prather, Vince Lanchi, Larry C. Johnson. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day, March 28th, and hope to see you all there. Twos, Mashup 192 in... Well, it's done. It's done. It's been...
Are you going to say it's in the books? Is it in the books?
It's in the books. It's one of the ones where you keep freezing on me even right now as I'm staring at you, and you got a silly face on your face right now. Anyways, folks, we're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and look forward to having you back. Hopefully, in the weeks to come, it doesn't glitch on us as much as it's glitched this week. Either way, thanks for being here. We'll be back next week with Mashup 193. As always, twos, it's been a pleasure. We'll catch up to you next week, big fella.
All right, thanks.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the